We're live with Nai. It's Sunday afternoon, and every day at this time, we go live with my mom, which is so
every Sunday at this time.
Every Sunday afternoon.
You said every day.
Oh, well, we can do it every day, I suppose.
No.
Anyway, this is so much fun for everybody because my mom is a wealth of knowledge. She has worked her whole life on health and wellness. This is where I get it from, I'm sure. She's studied a lot. I'll let her tell you a little bit about what she does, her story with all of this. She developed something called movement moments, which are awesome. And I learn every single day that I talk to her. Recently been living with a tennis ball for my feet. And we talked about feet last week, and there's so much to talk about feet. And we decided we were going to do feet part 2 this week because we really didn't get much covered. And there was so many people with so many great things to say. And hopefully we don't have a cat fight. We just had 2 cats come in. Anyway, Mom, I'm going to let you tell a little bit about you, your story, where movement moments came from briefly. And you all, we talk about age. I know for years we have an aunt too that never wanted to talk about her age. But the thing is that I'm really proud of my mom for the transition. And I've seen it over the last few years. She's aging backwards in the real sense of the word because she has made an effort to implement exactly what she's telling you. It's not like she's just telling you this stuff because it's like stuff she read about. She did read about it, but she implemented it. She fixed things and it's working. And I can physically see the changes in her body, even though I've not gotten to see each other that much this year. It's amazing how at any age you can change your body. You can change the things that hurt you. And she is living proof of that. So Mom, I know you don't like to do this, but I'm going to have you share your age because I'm super proud. And I want to give people the hope that, I have a lot of friends who are in their 40s and 50s who are like, oh, it's too late, or I'm going to be struggling with this back pain or this neck pain or this shoulder pain for the rest of my life or whatever. And anyway, I'll stop talking and I'll let you share a bit about that and where movement moment came from. And we'll get talking about feet.
Okay, well, I've gotten sort of used to Robin forcing me to go on about how old I am because, as she said, I didn't used to like the hell. But anyway, I'm going to be, January is my birthday. I'll be 77. But the main thing is that I've done a lot of, for many, many years, I've done yoga and other movement types of things. And 10 or more years ago, well, I thought about it, and it really started to flare up the most after I had my first grandchild, and my daughter-in-law was working a lot, and I spent a lot of time down there taking care of the baby. And this will sound familiar, I was carrying him on my hip all the time. My hip started to get really sore, and I started to get very sore after driving in a car. Anyway, to make a very long story short, after a lot of years of looking at things and going to physical therapy and everything else, I developed an approach that I basically lifted from other people out there in the natural movement. Because
but you blended it. You picked it from all different places and you found a system that's super practical. Because I can remember talking to you. We're both personal trainers, by the way. And my mom would always call me, okay, I need some advice from my trainer. She would always say that. But the thing is, she has actually created all of these things. You can go online and get totally overwhelmed. And my mom has just distilled it down into things that are so effective. And those of you who know me, I've been dealing with a shoulder issue for over a year now. And I've gone to physical therapy and I've done all kinds of stuff. But implementing some of the things that my mom has shown us through this has helped it get to the next level of healing. So anyway, you've distilled down all those things, Mom. So she's really good at selling herself short. So I'm going to build it back up. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, you know how some people, if they're scrolling around online, they're looking at, the latest video that's gone viral or something like that. I'm looking at movement videos from all different places. And I'm kind of this nerd, like a body nerd, as it's called. I just love looking at different approaches. And you get a feeling after a while of the things that rise to the top. And that's what happens because so many people have gotten them, have come to the same conclusion. So anyway, I started this thing called Movement Moments, which Robin and I are cooking up something to get it off the ground a little bit more. Basically, what that means is you find movements throughout, you put in movements throughout your day. Rather than exercise, not exercise is great and everybody should do it, but the fact is that no, even if you exercise a half an hour a day or more, or 3 times a week, or go jogging or running, whatever you do, most of the rest of our days are spent being sedentary. We're sitting, we're driving in a car, we're having others, we're outsourcing all our movement. We have all these really handy gadgets that turn the TV on and that set up the oven for us and that turn on this for us and that for us, which means we're not moving. And we might have evolved as a culture, but our bodies don't evolve that fast. And our bodies are really designed to be hunter-gatherers who move all the time, constantly. You know, they lay down at night and they went to sleep. The rest of the time, they were working their butts off, trying to get food and cook and make things and all that kind of stuff that you had to do, and nothing was done for you. So I could talk about this forever, but basically, if we find time within our day when we're doing something else to move our body as much as we can, all the parts that we don't move, it just makes a world of difference. And we can talk more about that later, because I want to talk a little bit more about feet, because feet carry you. Look at your feet are your friends, and you've been mistreating. Most of us have mistreated our feet from the time our parents started mistreating them when we were very little and learning to walk and stuck them in shoes. Your feet have 26 bones and 33 joints. Nature designed them to do something, not to be stuck in what is essentially a cast, which is what most shoes are. And so we are made to communicate with the ground, to communicate with all the rest of our body, and to use our feet in a lot of different ways. And that translates to the foot, the ankle, the calves, the knees, your whole body is impacted because we've stuck our feet into these shoes, and we've also lifted the heel up, which makes it even worse, especially for women. And so I said this last week, but the tendency to bunions might be inheritable, but a bunion is because you've taken your feet, which are supposed to be like this. That's how you're born, with your feet out like this. And then you stick them in, you make your foot shoe size instead of getting your shoes foot sized. And then this is what sticks out. And that becomes a bunion. So that's why women have more bunions than men, because they wear the pointier heel. Their shoes are usually more pointy. So last week we talked about massaging the feet, and Robin has a good story about talking about massaging, because she actually, I've sort of told her about this, but now that we've been doing this,
I didn't really listen. I'm like everybody else
on all of these things and actually doing them. So it's so great to see her doing them and having good results. So
yeah, and you guys, we want to hear your results. If you're watching and you implement something, if you have questions about how you implement it, or we want to hear your success stories. We want to hear where you get stuck. And so I'm going to share really quickly. And like my mom said, she's told me all this stuff for a long time. And I just, kind of, yep, it's great, Mom. That's really cool. You're doing great with it. And I don't usually implement it. But the whole beauty of it is you're not changing your daily routine. You're using the movements you're already doing and tweaking them to be beneficial. So I've started using a ball, like I showed you, a tennis ball on my feet all week, from last week to this week to today. So 7 days. And I stopped wearing my little slip-in shoes around. We have concrete floors. So I stopped wearing my slip-in shoes and I started just wearing thicker socks and using a tennis ball. And you guys, my shoulder, this thing is opposite. Okay. Is so much better from working on my feet. My left foot has some sore spots. My left shoulder's been really bad. That's been my bad shoulder. So I called my mom, and she was, of course, all excited that I was actually doing it and getting the results. But it's, I've also experienced some stiffness in the back, like my whole legs, right? I've shifted the angles. So hamstrings, back of my knees, my calves, it feels tighter. Like I've been working out a different way because I've shifted the whole angle of my body. So I wanted to share that. I told my mom this, I think it was today or yesterday. I wanted to share that because if any of you guys are implementing these things regularly, you're going to feel something shift, right? Anytime you change angles or change, direction or an exercise, it's going to shift your muscles. So there is a transition process. Anyway, I'm really excited and just getting to feel the differences. It's fun.
Because what you really accomplish if you do this regularly is you're doing many reps of very light weights, or your weight. I mean, you're using your own body, and with the tennis ball, you're massaging, but you're also getting mobile the bottom joints and all of that that are in your feet and the bones, and you're waking them up. And you're also, when you stop wearing an elevated heel, you are going to feel it, especially if let's face it, you've done it for, depending on how old you are, ever since you were less, like 2 years old. And so you're going to feel it. And it takes a while, but depending on how, you really have to, if you want to go to what's called minimal shoes and not wear shoes with heels, it's a long process. You can't automatically go from wearing something that has a lot of heel and a lot of support, a lot of arch support and all that, to something that's completely flat and that so you feel the ground, or barefoot. You have to take it in steps so that you can get used to it. But believe me, it's really worth it. And you might say, how can your shoulder be helped by your foot? But there's acupuncture and there's foot reflexology, and the whole body is connected. And when there are certain tensions in one place, it goes throughout your body, and you don't know where it's going to come out. And of course, it's impacted by other things you do and other postural things. And Robin's also been doing. She said she felt the difference of doing the thing of standing on one foot more, and not leaning over to the side with your hip stuck out, which is how a lot of us do. We hang when we stand. We hang on one hip, which causes a lot of trouble over the long period of time. So
what are the exercises for feet today that you want to show us?
Okay, well, actually, I want to talk about something called a half dome.
You want to move the camera down?
Yeah, I'm going to have to move the camera down. Let's see. And you don't have to have one of these. You can buy them at a lot of places. It's basically, or you could take a foam roller and cut it in half. But
could you roll up a towel?
But I was just going to say, if you don't have one, you can roll up a blanket. You can use just about anything you want, a towel, anything you have. But you want to be. The idea is that you're going to put it under you when you're standing. This, if you notice this, I got a little close to the heater and I melted it. And you want to step on it like this. And you're basically doing a calf stretch. And you want to, and so there are two. You could bend your knee and you step forward, or you step here. You get different ways to do it. And if you put this under your feet, if you have a standing desk, or if you're standing somewhere doing something, talking on the phone, again, it's all of those times that you have space in your life to fit these movements in. This will make a tremendous difference, because you can't do this enough. Because if you are like all of us have been for so many years, if you're wearing shoes that lift you up, if you think about what that's doing to your calves and the whole rest of your body, I said this before, but if your foot, right, you're designed, let me stand back. You're designed to have your foot flat on the ground. As soon as you put something underneath you, you go like this. But obviously we're not going to walk around like this, right? So we're going to compensate. We're going to throw our chest back. We're going to stick our hips forward. And this posture is what puts pressure on your lower back, on your hips, on your legs, all over the place. It depends on who you are, how this manifests. Your upper body is as well. So when you take that, when you start doing calf stretches, you help, loosen up your calves, which have been just in a tight position all the time. And so you can fit that in. And let me just say one more minute about fitting in. This is like the sixth, or I don't know how many weeks we've been doing now, and I'm always saying, oh, try this when you're brushing your teeth, or when you're watching the microwave, or when you're talking on the phone. But we've thrown out maybe 10, 12 different things you can do. So you can't do all of them, obviously. But I just start with one that captures your fancy, and link it to something, and really focus on doing that for 2 or 3 weeks or a month. And you'll find that, and then pick another one. And you'll find that what I do is, there aren't too many moments when when it's like nothing's going on, or like in between times when I'm not doing something. I just do it because I've made it a habit. And it's really very easy. When I'm standing at the counter, as I said, instead of leaning forward and putting a lot of times you put your abdomen against the counter, or you're sitting over on one side and one hip. Instead of doing that, I stand up on one leg and I make sure that I'm not doing this, but that I'm doing this. And that you're pressing down and pushing down with your foot. So you can fit all that in. So for the feet,
that works on.
Oh, absolutely. It's dynamite. If you start doing this and you spend a lot of time on one foot, you think about how much weight you're lifting. And you're doing all those repetitions as many times as you can make it a challenge. See how many times you can fit it in a day. You'll be surprised. And even when you're reading your email or looking at your phone and all that. So back to the feet. So for the feet we have so far, the rolling with the tennis ball, which is basically like a massage in different spots that we talked about last week. You can go back and look at the replay. And then the calf stretch helps your feet and lower. And one more I want to talk about are ankle circles, which are really, really very important because, our ankle mobility, it all has to do with how we walk and everything. And the thing to do when you're doing these circles is hold your leg up and do it as slowly as you can and feel like you're working really hard and you're going around and try to feel the edges of where your joints can move so that you're really, and you do it back and forth, you count so you do it evenly. And if you do that, if you tense you get some tension in your body and you're like, oh, I gotta move my ankle, just isn't gonna move.
Kind of like isometric movements.
Exactly. Create some isometric and move, try to move to the limits of where you can move and up and down.
So you're kind of coming into Mom.
You try to move to the limits of where your joints can go. And so it shows you that, and you'll feel that, and you do that every day, you'll feel some days it'll feel differently. And it's amazing how that helps your ankle joint get more mobility. And then you do this as well. Curl your toes and like that. I mean, the whole idea is, and you can think of things you can do yourself, is to get those feet moving. They shouldn't, if they're in prison all the time, then they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. And the more you do with them, the more you're going to feel better and your feet will feel better. It's amazing. There's a lot more, but again, it's already 5:20, so I don't know where the time went.
I know this is easy to talk about all this stuff. As you guys can see, my mom is an absolute wealth of knowledge for her whole body. She has literally lived this. She's fixed shoulders, hips, feet.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I get plenty of aches and pains at my age. And a lot of times I'll overdo something and I'll feel it. And it happens quite often, but I don't take, as a rule, I don't take over-the-counter pain medication, ibuprofen, or I never do that. I just say, whoops, I guess I overdid it a little bit, or maybe take a day off or do something with a rolling, massage or something like that. But
I've noticed a huge difference in your hands, in your posture for your upper body, all kinds of things, you guys. So if you're watching this, and we'd love to hear from you, share some hearts for appreciating my mom. If you guys have things you would, aches, body pains, discomforts, anything, shoot us a message or drop some comments if you want us to cover something specific. If you are thinking of somebody who needs to watch this while you're watching it, you can tag them in this. You can share this with them. It's shareable. So we would love to hear from you. As we said, we are going to do this every week. We are working on some things, kicking off the new year with some more information for you, but we really appreciate all your support. And
if you're watching the replay, make sure and comment and send us some. We'd love to get some questions or comments or suggestions.
Right, exactly. So replay or live, let us know where you are from. And also, like my mom said, any feedback, any questions, we may put out, if you guys feel like this is a great thing and this is off the cuff, but next week is in between Christmas and New Year's. So we might do a viewer special. So we're going to put out, if you guys have anything specific you want us to cover. Marcia Middleton's here. Yay.
Oh, hi, Marcia. My goodness.
That's great. She said, I tried to see if upper body was jiggling. It would be irritating to other participants, but not. She's interested in the tennis ball. So go back to last week's episode and look at the tennis ball one. Marcia, it's there. It was really a great one. I've been doing it all week and I can already feel a difference. But we're going to have some viewer requests for next week. We've gone over things from the neck to the hands, to the hips, to the feet. And there's a zillion more things my mom has, but these are really hot button things. So if you have something that's a favorite, or if you have something else that you want us to cover, shoot us a message or drop it in the comments of this record or this episode, whether it's replay or live, and we will check it out for next week's episode. So we're coming up on Christmas this coming week. I'm not sure what you guys all celebrate, but we're really grateful for you all watching, and we hope you have a very safe, enjoyable holiday, however you're celebrating this week.
Have a great holiday. And tonight is the solstice too. The days start to get longer tomorrow.
Right. We're very, very excited for the days to get longer. They've been super short around here lately, and we're really excited for more light. So celebrating that, celebrating lots of things the next week. We're very grateful for you all. We are going to jump off. Thanks, Mom, as always. We love doing this. It's so much fun, and we will see you guys all next week.
Okay, bye.
Bye.